Welcome to the What's Up Verdict podcast, where we fashion ourselves cinematic judge and jury. My name is JJ Carter. I'm here with my co-host, Alec Burgess.
Let's get it.
We appreciate you tuning in. Go ahead and hit that follow, subscribe, like, bell notification buttons. Tell a friend about us. Tell a family member about us. Again, I just don't tell anybody.
Please don't tell. I don't want Kaiser Soze to show up at my house. No, thank you.
I don't want any of these guys to show up at my house. We're good. This is going to be a month of don't tell anybody related to this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And before we get into this movie, go check out w.gg, where you can get 10% off with a code at checkout. Our verdict, all one word. They get energy drink powder. It's a supplement, if you will, but it's all coffee bean extract. They call it jitterless energy. And it's worked for me so far. I will be continuing to use it. Like when I feel like I don't drink the energy drinks anymore. And I never drank a lot of them in my older age. I used to drink when I was a kid. I wish I had this shit when I was younger. So I drank a lot of them. And then I started getting older. And so I'd drink a can and I'd be like, and feel like shit. And my heart's in now. But it's just one little scoop in a glass of water in the morning and I'm good. And I don't shake. I don't do anything like that. Now I was like, okay, I have a big cup. I'm going to do 2 scoops. That was a mistake. I felt like I drank a whole energy drink on an empty stomach after that. So they give you 1 scoop, no more than 2 scoops in a day. I follow that rule now because, it made a lot of sense. But I like it. It's good stuff. Tastes good. Works good. Go check it out. Go get your 10% off. w.gg. Our verdict to check out. All right, let's talk about this episode. We're in week 4 of our thriller movies, and we are doing The Usual Suspects. It was released August 16th, 1995. It was written by Christopher McQuarrie, and it's directed by Bryan Singer. It stars Kevin Spacey, Gabriel Byrne, Chaz Palminteri, Stephen Baldwin, Benicio del Toro, Kevin Pollak, Pete Postlewaite, Susie Ami, Giancarlo Esposito, Dan Hedaya. Jesus, this list keeps going. Paul Bartel, Carl Bressler, Jack Shearer, and Clark Gregg. It's about the sole survivor of a peer shootout who tells the story of how a notorious criminal influenced the events that began with 5 criminals meeting in a seemingly random police lineup. That's a weird synopsis. Kind of on the head, but oddly worded, maybe. But anyway, this was my movie.
This was.
This is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I think it's because of the names I just listed off. That cast is outrageous. And it's one of those things that it's just, to me, one of the better versions of storytelling in a movie that drags out. Like when I think about good storytelling movies, and a lot of times even I have a beef with some of them where it's like it drags a little. It's a little slow. I don't feel that with this movie very much. There's a couple of spots, but for the most part, like you're so curious as to the question of who is Kaiser Soze, and then like all the just random happenings and like the way that these guys come together, and the fact that Kaiser Soze is just one step ahead at all times, or maybe it's not Kaiser Soze as you're watching the movie, and maybe it's the lawyer, any number of people in this movie could be Kaiser Soze. You have Kobayashi, that's obviously the biggest suspect. But it's like, I'm so enthralled by figuring out the answer to this question at the center of it all, which is who is Kaiser Soze, that I don't worry, because I'm like, where are the nuggets in this dialogue? And it just keeps me, when I was watching it, I was like, holy shit. And the acting is outrageous. And I was 14, by the way, when I watched this movie. And it was one of those movies that when I think back on it, it was very influential in my love of movies in my teenage years, because I was like, this was really good. And then the end flips around, and Verbal starts walking normal, and I'm like, this motherfucker. And then as you go back, and I think the other thing that I really love about it is, at least for me, the rewatchability is so strong because I catch a new little hint all the time, almost every time I watch it. And the fact that like I'll let you go first. I'm assuming you'd seen this movie as a movie. Get the fuck out. You had never seen The Usual Suspects?
No, I'd heard about it.
Yeah.
But I didn't know the twist, anything else about it. I heard, it's such a great movie. I just never got around to watching it. So yesterday was the first time I'd watched it.
Dude.
And I will say, I felt proud of myself. I was on my A game because I figured it out sooner than I normally do in a movie.
Sure.
Which is usually about 20 seconds after they've revealed it is when I figure it out.
Yeah.
But I think it's because we did 7 recently. And so I saw Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
And I know what month we're in. We're in Thriller month. So I'm like, okay, Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
Watch him, right? As soon as he's the one who's telling the story, I'm like, watch that guy.
Yep.
And then I suspected him when we first meet Kobayashi. Right? And he's the only guy who doesn't know.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's suspicious. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I was pretty sure even later when we see Edie at the office in LA or whatever, right? We see that happen. I was like, that's interesting, right? Type of thing. And then when Kuzan or whoever was tells Kint is like, Edie's dead. I was like, that motherfucker.
Yep.
Because they're getting to the point. So I was like really proud of myself when it did turn and I get it out, because like I got it early. Because by the time we get to the handing back of his stuff, right, and it's like gold cigarette lighter, I was like, boom, confirmed. I knew it. So I got to enjoy the reveal a whole lot more than I normally do.
Yep.
Because typically I would get the twist after the credits start rolling. I'm like, okay, I see. But this time I got it a little bit earlier. And so I was like, oh, wow, no, this is really good. Because it's just, like you said, it's such a good story, well told. There's enough happening in the background that it makes you think, oh, no, this or that. And you're constantly being switched back and forth. And it's enough. I mean, I think the casting of Dean Keaton, Gabriel Byrne, right? That is the thing that makes it happen. Is he's got that suave kind of look. The character that they built around him is he's this mastermind genius that has gone straight, right? He's given up the life and all these things. He's faked his death and he came back from the dead. And there's all these things that point right to him. And it's almost so perfect because you also have such a charismatic actor playing that role. Yep. That you believe he's Keaton and he's this guy who is at the center of the spider web, as it were. Yeah. And it's kind of crazy because in most of the scenes that are titular scenes, right, you have Kevin Spacey there, but he just blends into the background so well when cast next to Keaton and Gabriel Byrne. Are like, oh man, like it all makes sense as you start to connect the dots. Yeah. So it's like, okay, yes, masterful storytelling at work. But I'm also glad that I didn't see it before I could appreciate it, if that makes any sense. Yes. Like, seeing it through, being embarrassed that if I'd seen it when I was 14 or something like that, and then not getting the twist. And I have a much more positive outlook because, like, I figured it out first.
Yeah. Sure.
So I'm like on cloud 9 about The Usual Suspects because it was so proud of myself.
I love it. That's awesome, dude. I had no idea. I had assumed 100% that you had seen this movie because, it's just, I mean, it's one of those movies that you can say different. And I remember being, like I said, a teenager and like people asking that question all the time, who is Kaiser Soze? And then like you'd see people using, like, because that was like about the time that video games were starting to get like where you had your own user tags and things like that. So
Okay.
people were always doing Kaiser Soze or like Kaiser. So it was like really funny because like it stuck. And it was one of those like movies that really kind of changed some of the dynamics of storytelling in Hollywood in general. And yeah, it's just one of those things that's so well written. And it kind of, well, it didn't kind of like it pushed McHugh, who's Christopher McQuarrie, the writer, is also known as McHugh. That's what he signs most of his movie or TV shows and movies. And so, like, if you go back, like Mission Impossible, a lot of the most recent Mission Impossible movies, Top Gun, the most recent the sequel to Top Gun, that's all him. He works a lot with Tom Cruise these days. He did the TV show Chuck, if you ever watched that, like that was his show. So he's always been a very clever writer, and this was the first movie. And to give like some context to how clever this son of a bitch is, the idea for this movie came from nothing other than the photo of a lineup. Like he saw that and went, fuck it, I'm gonna write a movie. And this is what came of it. And then you
genius.
Yeah, it's just wild when you think about the level of cool that you get. And this was back when Bryan Singer was still making good movies. So this was before. Never mind, I'll stop. But yeah, like it just is for me the epitome of storytelling in modern movies, or one of the epitomes, because it just still to this day, like I find myself watching the back wall in the interrogation of Verbal, and you can see the names he's pulling out of the fucking wall. You're like, get the fuck out of here. Like almost every story he tells about Kaiser Soze or whatever, all comes from shit on that back wall. And you're just like, get the fuck out of here. Like, it's just so clever and so smart and keeps you guessing. And then you add in the fact that you have this brilliant script, brilliant story, and the amount of, like you said, actors that are in it is outrageous. I mean, Kevin Spacey, this was Kevin Spacey's heyday, right? Like this was this guy. And then, like you said, the rest of them, I mean, even Stephen Baldwin, like who's the goofiest fucker on the planet. Because all I think about when I see him is Biodome. That's the first thing I think about when I think of Stephen. And so it's like, but seeing him as this ruthless fucking asshole, hot-headed, I was like, he did very well at that, old Stephen Baldwin.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just so good. The cast is so good, and it's subtle. I mean, when you think about the fact that you got Giancarlo Esposito in like a role that you're like, look at that. He was so good in it too. And he's like kind of this half bit part. Like, anyway, the acting is phenomenal. The story is phenomenal. It's just one of those movies that it really defined like movie going for me in my early teens, mid-teens.
At one point I was really, really hoping Esposito was going to be Kaiser Soze, because the dude is such a good villain.
Oh,
he's so made to play villain.
So good.
I was sitting there going, I was like, please, that would be so great. Even though I was like, nope, I know who it is. I was like, throw me something crazy, and make it the guy who's investigating, because he's just such a great villain.
Oh yeah.
And he just got the voice for it. He's got the movement. He just acts so menacing.
Oh yeah, he's amazing, and he's always been that way.
Yeah, I will say though. So the one part that did kind of confuse me is when we're getting to the end. Right, we have the big boat scene.
Yeah.
Right, and so we know at some point that Kevin Spacey runs away and just starts murking everybody on the boat.
Yeah.
That he's after. It didn't exactly sit in my mind, the timing behind it. Right? That he's able to move around without being seen, get behind McManus, and stick this dude with a knife.
Yeah.
At the same time that he offs the guy who can identify him, Arturo, whoever it is. And then somehow is able to, or finds a way up and around on the balcony
Yeah.
to where he confronts Byrne. And so there was that, you know, and it felt like purposeful, you know, like misdirection for that reveal versus I think you could get away with just having an almost ambush scene, which is what we got with Hawken.
Yeah.
Right. The man. Like you can do essentially the same thing, just put Spacey on the balcony, McManus comes out the door, get rid of him, then go after Gabriel.
Yeah.
Right. You can have that kind of thing, but the misdirection was almost too heavy-handed in its way.
Yeah.
Where now I was kind of like, oh, well, you could actually do it in a way that makes sense. And if you take into account that he's, you know, not actually crippled.
Yeah.
Right. And he's got better movement than what we're led to believe.
Sure.
Maybe it happens. But I was like, with the amount of around the corners through this giant yacht.
Yeah.
Right, holy smokes, this thing is like a TARDIS, way bigger on the inside. But to circle back around and get McManus after like sneaking around two guys who are looking for, you know, dope, but they're looking hard for it type of a thing. Like they're on high alert. And so that was the part where it got me going. I was like you almost could have accomplished the same thing without needing to have this extra layer attached to it.
Yeah.
Because we don't see necessarily, you know, we don't see him stab McManus.
Yeah.
Right? We don't see him even shoot Gabriel. We get it from that viewpoint. And then the viewpoint at the beginning is, of course, him at the balcony walking down and finishing the job.
Yeah.
But it was kind of interesting. Things that I noticed was like in the initial scene, right, where it's showing you what happens, we got sideways gun.
Yeah.
Right. And then later in the movie, Fenster's the only one that has sideways gun. And so I was like, oh, hey, that could be a clue. But then, you know, we off Fenster. It's like, okay, so that's not a clue, but it's deliberately laid there to make you think that it's somebody who it's not.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, there's almost in its own way too much misdirection for me. Because now you're just almost throwing in stuff that wouldn't make sense to the story that you're telling, down to even, you know, the point that we've got, you know, at the end fight, right? We got Kent with the not a sidearm. Right?
Yeah,
he's got some form of rifle or modified, you know, Uzi or something like that. And so he's got this modified kind of weapon, but we see sidearm when he comes after Gabriel.
Yeah.
And it's like, so that's a conscious decision that he's making when it doesn't make much sense when you have range or whatever, and you have a firearm that you're clearly using.
Yeah.
And so it was all those little like misdirection things that when we get the story later, it's almost like, why? Because you have such a great story. You have the enough obfuscation or whatever the word is, but you obscured it enough that I don't need to really be swirling around thinking about it. You can tell the story in linear fashion and still get that, oh my gosh, Kent did it, right? Type of
yeah.
Because there's enough of that already happening. And so there were certain points. It was really with that final fight where I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Why do it that way?
Yeah.
When I don't think it was necessary to still tell the story that you told.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that is one of the things that I always laugh about is the fact that they play so hard into the almost impossible, even for a normal human being to be able to time that up and move in the way that he does. He would have to, but it's all because I'm sure it's all because they were like, well, we need him to say there's no way that a cripple could even come close, right? Like someone with that kind of disability, there's no way. And I agree with you. Like, I think they laid enough groundwork. I don't know. It's tough because when I go back and watch it, one thing that Kevin Spacey does throughout the movie is there's little scenes where you'll catch him on camera where he's not the focal point of the camera. But if you look at him, you can see his facial expressions change when he's verbal or when he's do I have to be Kaiser Soze right now? Like, especially like when they first meet Kobayashi, or not meet him, but they go after him, right? And there's this look, and he's got the gun holding on him, and then like there's this look in his eye that changes. And you're like, wait, that's not this meek little, disabled verbal. That's still a criminal, but he's never like the vindictive one. That's always Stephen Baldwin, right? Or that's always. And then there's like the crazy moments where you're like, that's Benicio
where he takes
del Toro.
out Saul Berg.
Yeah. Like there's just these moments where when I watch it back, but I think you're right. I think they did enough to misdirect you from him, even without like those extra couple of like, but that's not possible for anybody. You know what I mean? Let alone someone with that disability. So I do agree that they probably overtone that a little bit, but it's so much fun.
Wow. So I think because what really kind of got it is like you're saying, it's the background scenes where he's not really a part of it. So we have him sitting with Keaton and they're waiting essentially to talk to Edie before they leave.
Yeah.
Right. That's a string on the board of, oh, Keaton cares about Edie.
Yeah.
And then that comes out later when at the boat, Keaton's like, hey, if things go south, you get out of here. You go to Edie. She can find out stuff right from her way. She's going after Kobayashi.
Yeah.
Type of a thing. So Clint's like, okay, cool. She has to go.
Yeah.
And so you have enough just with those two going the back and forth that there's to obscure what's happening, but still tell you exactly what's happening. And it's all through the Edie connection.
Yeah.
Because that's when as soon as it came out, like, oh yeah, she killed in her hotel room. That's where I was like, boom. Because there's no other reason for or in my mind when I was viewing, I was like, there's no other reason for that course of events to happen, right?
Yeah.
Because they do a good job of telling you, like, Keaton really likes Edie, right? He's not going to hurt her. He's not going to do anything to make her uncomfortable. You see the emotion on his face when he sees that she's meeting with Kobayashi, right? And you have that going, it's like, dang it, right? Because he's supposed to be the mastermind behind everything. He's the old cat in the group. And so you have this kind of, you can tell. And then it's like the story they're trying to push. Oh, no, he killed Edie. It's like,
yeah.
No. Kent did it.
Yeah, not so much. Yeah.
And it's all because of that one line of she can figure it out. It's like, cool. Well, now I know who I have to remove from the equation next.
Yeah.
And so I think you can get the same exact reaction by just focusing down on the conversations and scenes between Kevin Spacey and Gabriel Byrne, because they work so well together.
Yeah.
Specifically for this misdirect.
Yeah.
And I think you can accomplish the same thing without having to throw in all these almost superhuman tendencies of Kaiser Soze, because that leading into that almost mythology of it is what kind of pulls me out a little bit, when I'm almost like, you could literally just tell the same exact story using this too.
Yep. No, I agree. There is a lot of over the top stuff,
but it still works. Like, I will say that it still works to the point of the misdirection. But when I was like dissecting it and going back and forth, I was like, well, you could have done more with less. But it also, in its own way, within the entire story, it almost feeds into the lore of Kaiser Soze being this, superhuman, doing everything. So the other kind of tidbit I would have liked to see, but that's just me, is some way to make sure the legend grows.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's not a whole lot of that. But if you take someone like Stephen Baldwin and McManus or Hawken, they can have this, they can spread it out. And now it's the legend continuing to grow, as it were.
Yeah. No, I would have liked that. That's always one of my things that I'm like, yeah, but how else are people afraid of him anymore? Like,
Yeah.
and then I also don't love, like, I realize that it played well because of the little shit-eating grin at the end and the, oh, fuck, I realized, you know what I mean? I don't want the cop to figure out, because now somebody's seen his face. And so,
well, they have a sketch of him, so that's going up everywhere.
Yeah. And that's the part where I'm like, I would have rather them done something where the cop figures it out at some point, but immediately is taken out because he's recognized that this is now Kaiser Soze. Because again, the legend is now in trouble because someone has identified what he looks like, who he is. Who knows if anybody believes him? And maybe that's, I don't know, maybe I'm looking at it wrong. Maybe that's part of the legend, is that, you know, he's also good at impersonating other people. But then that still makes his life more difficult because, anyway, I'm with you. I wish there had been more additional pieces to the tall tale that is the Kaiser Soze, you know.
Because the other thing that kind of got me is everything really hinges upon this one moment with the facts coming in, and you get visual confirmation.
Yeah.
But the problem that kind of sits with that is, again, this is the underground boss, right? The Hungarian never knew who Kaiser Soze was.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Like, he wasn't hired by Kaiser Soze.
Yeah.
He was there to get someone who could allegedly describe, but the deal never went through. So the Hungarians never actually get to talk to him to get this description. And it's not like, you know, Kent went up on the boat and said, "All hail me," right? And started blasting. So it almost doesn't, like, how does he know what to tell the cops? As this is 100% for sure Kaiser Soze, unless he's the Hungarian that got let go way back in Hungary. But then, it already tells us that he hunted down the Hungarian mob.
Yeah.
And so that's the idea that nobody knows who he is and who his face is. In order to get the twist ending, you have to know.
Yeah.
But the source of information, it doesn't make any sense, because anybody who looks at him or can ID him gets offed.
Yeah.
Pretty frequently, or pretty quickly. And so that was another aspect where it's like, it plays off really well. I like it. But when going back and reviewing it, I'm almost like, it doesn't make a lot of sense as to why they were able to get this sketch from this guy who survived.
Yeah.
Because how does he know who Kaiser Soze is? Because, again, Kent wasn't on the boat until pretty much the work was done.
Yeah.
And at that point, this guy's covered in burns and shot.
Yeah.
So I think you could have gotten a real quick clip of just him, we'll say, fading in and out of consciousness, seeing the angle of Kaiser shoot Byrne or whatever. And you just show that he's awake.
Yeah.
And then he's the guy from later. And then you've connected the dots so that, he has seen it.
Yeah.
But again, Kaiser doesn't know he survived. He doesn't know that where he is or anything of that nature. And you can have one of those Kevin Spacey moments when the cops tell him, like, "Oh, hey, somebody else survived too, but he's in critical condition," or all this nonsense. And then, so when the facts comes through, then it makes the getaway feel like, oh, dang, it's right there.
Yeah.
So I was like, these are the little tweaks when I figure something out quickly, and my brain can go free. It's like, oh, well, wait a minute, that didn't make sense. Why did I do it this way? But then, of course, you unravel a little bit what the story's trying to tell, and maybe you give away too much too soon.
Yeah. I've often thought that it would have been interesting, instead of him, like, walking away with a limp and then the limp going away and him getting in the car. Like, I've often thought it would be interesting to have him walk away and then you get the facts, but you don't see the facts. And his eyes go wide and he's like, "I know who it is." And then it cuts. And then the next thing we see is someone offing the cop and the guy, the Hungarian, and like then
And
you
he limps
see
away.
and they limp. So yeah, exactly. Or maybe you take the limping scene out earlier and then then it happens. But yeah, like I've often thought they could have done something like that too, where it's because to me that then closes the loop on someone knowing, which he would never allow to stay out there based on what we know about him. So anyway, I'm just happy you hadn't seen it before. That's why.
Yeah, no, it was good. I'm glad that this was a first time watch for me, because it's one of those that, being at this point 30 years old.
Yeah.
30 years old, 30 years old.
30, 31.
It's been around for a while and it hasn't been spoiled for me.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot that can be spoiled in this, but it's not one that's made its way to like social media or TikTok or anything of that nature. And so the spoilage hasn't really been there. So I got to watch it through a clean lens.
Yeah.
And yeah, I enjoyed it. It was great.
Love it. All right, should we rate it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my movie, I don't think anybody's going to be surprised. I'm giving this movie a 5. Even though there are some things that I think are tweakable, I think even in its current form to me is like, again, it's one of the best movies in my opinion, period. Like, and this is a movie that I'll watch anytime. I never get bored with it because no matter if I know what's going on, when acting and story is this good, I'll watch it because it's interesting. And like I said, I pick up on little things. I've been watching this movie since 1995, dude. And I still to this day pick up on things that I didn't catch before, or little, tie togethers that I didn't see. And it's just amazing the stuff that you can pick up. So the subtlety of the acting, and then, the depth of the story. And it's just so good to me. And that's, as soon as Thriller was like, I was like, oh yeah, this is going on this list right here. And it's an exact juxtaposition of the next movie that I picked for the end of it. But like, it's one of my favorites. 5 for me. Watch it anytime, no questions asked. Love it.
All right, I'm gonna give it 4.5 for a lot of the same reasons.
Mm-hmm.
This is one that I will be watching again, and I look forward to kind of picking apart the new hints, new Easter eggs, and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
The problem that I know I'm going to get with it is also I would have done this, or I would have done that, or I would have moved this, or this makes more sense, and try and rewrite the story. But it's a great story. I think the movie is made by Gabriel Byrne.
Yeah,
as being the distraction, right? He's the guy you meet kind of first. He's the guy that you're immediately drawn into. He's got the charisma and everything else. I think you put somebody else in there, and you're not going to have the same balance because they're going to overpower it and steal the show. Someone like Tom Cruise, or they're not going to do enough to distract. And so, he's that perfect little sweet spot.
Yeah.
Where you're going back and forth the entire time. Is it? Isn't it? Is it? It's got to be him. No, it can't be him. But it surely is got to be him. They wouldn't put him in this role if it wasn't him. He'd be perfect for it.
Yeah.
And so there's enough going there that it's the rewatchability is awesome, and that's a great movie overall. But I will give it a 4.5, and I will definitely be watching this again.
Nice. All right. Well, there it is. The usual suspects. Alec, tell me where they can find us when we're not trying to answer the question, who is Kaiser Soze?
Oh, happy to, JJ. Best spot is on YouTube, where you see our smiling faces or our grouchy faces, depending on what we've been watching for the week. This round was a lot of smiling, which is always nice to see. But the best place to get involved with the content at What's Our Verdict in general is on Patreon. We put out votes for topics, votes for movies that have real actual consequences that mean quite a bit to us. So you can join us at What's Our Verdict Reviews on Patreon and vote for absolutely free. Just get involved with the content, put on a vote for the movies you want to see us doing for that month. Behind a teeny little bit of a paywall is almost 700 extra bonus content episodes, everything from bloopers and outtakes all the way up to full-length episodes of movies nobody should watch, but we went ahead and did so for you. We're also partnered with Dubby, so go if you're looking for a energy supplement powder. Go to w.gg, get 10% off your order with code RVerdict, all one word. With that, I will kick it back to the Maharaja of MASH, Jack Dunn's baby, JJ.
That's right. Much appreciated. Yeah, go check us out at all those places. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Cinemagic out.
Whoa!